From Fox 19 Now, this is breaking news.
And this is a live look into the courthouse. We expect something to happen. Momentarily. We heard earlier that the jury had another question. We heard about 3 hours ago the jury could not come to a decision in the Ray Tenzing murder retrial. The judge did the Allen charge and sent them back to go and try to work it out and come to some kind of resolution. Of course, this trial, the first time around, ended in a hung jury. Let's talk with Mike Allen about what could be going on. The camera's live now. It goes live like right before something happens in the courtroom, so we're expecting something to happen. What could that be?
Here's what I think is going to happen, Rob. I think the jury is going to send back another note to Judge Giz saying, we're deadlocked. Then Judge Giz will have to decide whether she wants to read that Howard charge or Allen charge again. My guess is she probably won't. This jury is obviously hopelessly deadlocked.
And my question is, 31 hours so far, up until right now, the first jury deliberated 25 hours before that ended in a hung jury. How unusual is it for a judge to declare an Allen charge twice?
Oh, it happens frequently. Yeah, it does. I think it happened in Bill Cosby's trial just last week, if I'm not mistaken. I've had a number of trials where it happens. I think in this trial, though, based on the time that they've been out and what we're hearing about them being pretty hopelessly deadlocked, I don't think she'll read it again, but she could.
Well, in the Bill Cosby case, that jury deliberated for 57 hours. They were charged with the Allen charge twice. It's probably unlikely in this case, though, correct?
I would think so. Just again, based on what we're hearing about, some of the dynamics, I doubt it, but she could. I think she probably wants to end this thing this afternoon because you have the weekend. That's not to trivialize anything.
Sure.
And I know she wouldn't do that, nor would the jurors, but it just seems logical based on the fact they've been deliberating so long without a verdict.
And we heard yesterday that the jury had a question, and then we thought that question that the jury had was going to be released today. It was not. Do you make anything out of that?
No, I really don't. I don't know why. Obviously, Judge Giz felt there was a good reason for that, but I don't know what that could have been.
And then we just heard from inside the courtroom, all rise, which means that probably Judge Leslie Giz is getting ready to walk into the courtroom?
Either that or the jury or both. Jury might already be there. Jury might not be there too, Rob, but probably the judge, but maybe the judge and the jury.
And we're seeing the camera tilt up. The judge is at her desk. Let's listen in.
Okay. We are back on the record. The State of Ohio versus Raymond Tenzing, case number B153961. Mr. Tenzing is present with counsel, Mr. Matthews, and the state is represented by Mr. Teeger and Mr. Graffenreid. Everyone is present, as are our 12 jurors. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you sent a note out shortly, about a half an hour ago, that says we are almost evenly split regarding our votes toward a final verdict. We have given this extensive deliberation with opportunity for both sides to express their positions. We do not foresee coming to a unanimous decision. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this correct? Can everybody give me a head nod or? Okay. Looks like that's where you are. Okay, counsel.
Judge, at this point, I would move for mistrial.
Mr. Teeger, anything in response?
No, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury and members of the public, at this time, this court is in a position and will have to, as a result of the jury being unable to reach a verdict, declare a mistrial in this case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we cannot thank you enough for your service. This has been a very long and difficult week. I know you did your very best. It is a service that is invaluable to the community. And you took something on that was incredibly difficult. And knowing how long and how difficult it may be, you still were willing to be members of this jury. So thank you very much on behalf of not only myself and my staff, but on behalf of the parties and the community. You will be excused at this time to return to the jury. Okay, all rise, please. All rise.
And you heard it right there. After 31 hours, the jury in Ray Tenzing's retrial ends in a hung jury. They can't come to a decision. We heard the judge say that we're almost evenly split. Is that why it took so long, do you think, to get to this point?
It could be, Rob. You just don't know. Hopefully, and usually the way it is, you find out more about the jury dynamics after the trial.
But once again, the jury comes to a hung jury in the trial. We see members of the DuBose family. Ma'am, do you have anything? Do you have any response? I'm sorry to hear this way. Yeah. And so that's members of the DuBose family leaving the courtroom. Once again, we did catch up with them yesterday, and they told us that they felt the jury was doing their job of looking at the charges, and even yesterday, they felt really good that the jury would come to a decision of guilty in terms of Sam DuBose being killed by Ray Tenzing. But once again, it ends in a hung jury for the second time in the Ray Tenzing retrial. And as you can see, family are emotional because, once again, 2 years, nearly 2 years after Sam DuBose was shot and killed by Ray Tenzing, there is still no closure. And we're inside the courtroom. We were on floor 5. We are now on floor 4. Moments ago, we saw the DuBose family walk outside of the courtroom. They were very emotional. They did not want to talk. They got on the elevator. We saw that happen live. They came down on the 4th floor. And if you look behind me where all the cameras are, they're in that room trying to collect themselves. Apparently, one of the family members said that we don't want to talk right now, understandably, because they're very emotional. After 2 years, there's still no resolution in the death of Sam DuBose. Ray Tenzing's second trial ends in a hung jury. It ends in a mistrial. Robert Guadarrama was inside the courtroom when Judge Leslie Giz read that statement by family members. And the one thing she said that struck me was, we're almost evenly split. Did that strike you too?
Absolutely. You know, last time around it was a 10-2 split. So this time being evenly split, half and half, give or take one. That sends a different message this time around, that there were half and half on each side of this.
We're going to have to go down to the first floor. We're going to keep walking and keep going live. So we're going to go down. Okay. So a nice guy from another channel said that the DuBose family, they don't want to talk right now. They're in that room right behind me. That's where they are right now. And they said that they don't want to have cameras in their faces as they walk out. You can understand that they're very emotional. And they said that they would give a statement on the first floor. So that's where we're headed. Robert, you talked about the jury and how they appeared. Tell me about how the DuBose family appeared when it was read that the jury could not come to a decision.
You know, Rob, we had talked with Trina Allen and Sam DuBose's mother, Audrey, and they had both told us that they were really hoping for a conviction this time around. They felt there was a good chance, the best chance, better than last time, for the jury to return a conviction. So you can imagine they were disappointed. As soon as that hung jury and mistrial was announced, I saw a lot of them put their heads down and start shaking their heads. A few of them had tears as they left the courtroom. As far as the Tenzing family, you could tell they kind of took a breath of relief after hearing that. So you can imagine the DuBose family trying to gather their emotions, gather their thoughts before they address the media. So that's where we're heading right now. They had told me that they would give us a statement once they just took some time to figure out what they wanted to say and be with each other for a few minutes.
Now, I talked to Mike Allen, who's with us as well, to give us his legal perspective. When it was read that it's going to end in a mistrial and a hung jury, I saw Ray Tenzing kind of put his fingers to his eyes. Right. He didn't seem like he felt like this was all in the clear.
That's right. And, you know, the possibility of another retrial, of lesser charges being added, he doesn't know. You know, if it would have come back not guilty, then he would know at that point that, you know, he wasn't going to face these charges again. So the fact that we have the possibility of another trial, that he'll have to come back here and start this process all over again, you can imagine that he did not want to hear that being said. Sure. Now, I can tell you on July 24th, that is what Judge Giz, that's the date when the prosecutor's office will meet again with the judge and then tell her whether or not they plan to retry this case.
For a third time. And Mike, you say that the chances of that happening is what? If you were going to give a percentage, 50-50?
It depends. On murder and manslaughter, I'd say next to none. I just can't fathom doing that again. Perhaps if the prosecutor dismisses this indictment and reindicts on either reckless and or negligent homicide, yeah, we could have a third trial. So much of it depends on what that jury count is.
I wanted to just get your reaction. It looks like it's tough on you.
It's tough. You know, there's a lot of people who are hurting right now, and you know, after last week, I think people were just tired.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm tired too.
Yeah, no, I can understand. Do you have a message for the people who have formed up outside, and for the DuBose family, and people who support them, and people who support this city?
If you protest, do it peacefully. It's a system issue. You've got to change it. This isn't okay. It's just, you got to change it. Just from the top to the bottom.
All right.
And people should vote.
Yeah. Councilwoman Yvette Simpson, she's also a council candidate for mayor. You saw her. She's very emotional. After her son is shot and killed, there is still no resolution. For the second time, after 31 hours, it ends in a mistrial. And we're hearing that it's evenly split. But once again, no resolution for the DuBose family after Sam DuBose is shot and killed nearly 2 years ago next month. They may talk a little bit later on. If you remember, the family was very optimistic yesterday and even the day before when we caught up with them in terms of how they felt about the jurors in this case coming to a verdict. They felt really good that it was going to come to a not guilty verdict, but we found out today that's not what happened on this rainy Friday afternoon outside of the Hamilton County Courthouse. We carried Yvette Simpson live. She was very emotional. You can imagine how the DuBose family feels. A member of the family wearing the hashtag Sam DuBose and a number 2. And we're just giving her space, and she's also wearing a Sam DuBose pin on the front of her dress. Pastor Mingo was helping her because, I mean, this is a super tough situation, and I know Pastor Mingo has been key in terms of helping this family out. You said earlier to me that the last year of work that you've done will hopefully make this resolution peaceful.
We pray that the last year of work done throughout the city with police community relations and whatever, you know, that it bears some fruit. Right now, the family wants peace. The family wants reconciliation. The family does not want any upheaval. They don't want any violence. That's not the way they want Sam remembered. They want him remembered as the generous, caring, and young man that he was, a father, a credit to the community that's definitely going to be missed. Nothing can bring him back, but his memory right now, his memory, his legacy is something they want preserved. They don't want anyone else to go to jail. They don't want anybody else to be hurt. They don't want anybody's car to be set afire in his name. They don't want any street poles pulled down. They don't want any windows broken. They don't want any business destroyed. They want him remembered as the family member that he was to them and held dear to their hearts. And they don't want anyone to do anything that can be basically negative in his name, that can reflect negatively upon he or his family. They want the whole city to maintain peace and also keep them in prayer.
As we wrap up our coverage here of Ray Tensing's retrial, once again at about 2:10, the jury came back and said, we can't come to a verdict on this. So his second trial ends in a mistrial. We saw a motion from the DuBose family. They wouldn't speak with us on camera. We know everything is pretty calm outside of the courthouse, but the Black Lives Matter rally is being held, we're hearing, at 4 o'clock. So we're going to say goodbye for now, but make sure you download our app, because when news breaks, we're going to bring it to you on your mobile device, because I assume a lot of people are on the move.